The room was still shaking when the ceiling went dark. Not metaphorically, literally. 1 second I was gripping the edge of the hotel bed, breath trapped high in my chest. The world narrowed to heat and noise, and the lie I had rehearsed so many times, it felt like truth. The next, nothing, no pain, no sound. Just a sudden, absolute absence. When I woke up, the ceiling was white. Too white. The air smelled like disinfectant instead of cheap hotel soap. I tried to move my hand. It didn't answer. I tried again. Panic sharpened. My legs were gone. My body felt like a thought someone else was having. A nurse noticed my eyes and leaned in. Her voice was calm in a way that felt rehearsed. "Don't try to move." That was when I knew something irreversible had happened. Hours passed, or minutes. Time had no structure. Then the door opened, and my daughter walked in. She was crying before she reached the bed. That was wrong. She never cried in front of me. I had raised her to be controlled, presentable. She took my hand. I felt nothing. "Mom," she whispered, like the word itself could break me. "There's something you need to know." Her voice trembled. Mine didn't exist. She told me I had collapsed, that the man with me had called emergency services and disappeared before they arrived, that the doctors said spinal trauma, oxygen deprivation, phrases that landed like stones. Then she hesitated. I watched her throat tighten. And Dad. The word hit harder than paralysis. "He's in intensive care." I stared at the ceiling again. The white seemed louder now. She kept talking, words spilling out like she was afraid silence would swallow her. Heart attack. Sudden. At home. Alone. I had been hours away. I had been unreachable. I closed my eyes. Inside my head, something cold began to assemble itself. Not guilt. Not grief. Calculation. Because even as my daughter cried, fragments started aligning. The timing. The blackout. The way my phone had been silenced without me remembering doing it. The way my affair partner had vanished. I had always believed I was the one managing the lies. But lying in that bed, unable to move, unable to speak, I felt it for the first time. The quiet certainty that I hadn't lost control. I had never had it. The doctors spoke to me like I was fragile glass, partial paralysis, unknown recovery, stress-related neurological collapse layered over trauma, words designed to soften reality. I listened. I memorized. I stored everything. At night, when the machines hummed and my daughter slept in the chair beside me, I replayed the last months with forensic precision. My husband's sudden tenderness, his uncharacteristic silence, the way he never questioned my late nights anymore, because he already knew. The realization didn't hurt. It clarified. From my bed, I asked my daughter to bring me my phone. She hesitated. I insisted. Control is easier when you sound calm. The phone had been wiped, messages gone, call logs edited, except for one thing he hadn't accounted for. The cloud doesn't forget. I dictated instructions to my daughter, carefully framed as practical necessities. Passwords, accounts, an old tablet at home I might need for insurance. She brought it the next day. My hands couldn't move, but my mind was surgical. I found what he thought I never would. Screenshots saved under innocuous file names. Messages between my husband and the man I thought was only mine. Not rivals, partners. They hadn't just discovered the affair. They had engineered it. Months ago, carefully. My husband feeding him information, my routines, my weaknesses, the hotel suggestion, the timing. The blackout wasn't accidental. They wanted me exposed, broken, removed, emotionally, socially, legally. But plans rot when one variable refuses to die. My husband survived the heart attack. Barely. I asked to see him. They wheeled me into his room days later. He looked smaller, deflated. A man who had gambled and miscalculated. He started crying the moment he saw me. "I never meant for this," he said. "I just needed the truth to come out." I let the silence stretch. Silence is a blade if you know how to hold it. "I know," I said finally. My voice was steady, alien. I asked one question, the only one that mattered. "Did you love him?" His face answered before his mouth did. I nodded once. Then my daughter placed the tablet on his chest. He saw everything. The screenshots, the timestamps. His own words reflected back at him without mercy. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I told him the hospital bills were paid. The lawyer was retained. The divorce papers were already drafted. And that the truth, every detail, had been scheduled for release if anything else happened to me. Insurance, I called it. He tried to reach for me. I felt nothing. Weeks later, I was discharged into a different life. One with limits. One with clarity. My husband lost his marriage, his reputation, and the illusion that he had ever been the one in control. The man from the hotel never contacted me again. I don't wonder why. Some betrayals don't end with forgiveness or rage. They end with precision. And I live with the quiet satisfaction of knowing